Hello there. This is a video about how to get into medical school or dental school. You've probably heard that medical school is one of the most demanding and also one of the most competitive courses that you can get on in the UK, certainly. First, to introduce myself, I'm Robert Hatch and I'm the course leader at Medipathways College, and I oversee a course that prepares students specifically for medical school. And I'll talk a bit more about that towards the end. So, why is getting into medical school so difficult? What is it? Well, basically, it's just extremely competitive, and there are just not very many places, and there are a lot of applicants, and it costs a lot to train a medic. The country has to put an enormous investment into the students who study medicine, and so it wants to make sure that it takes only the best. So I'm afraid that's the reason it's so competitive. So let's look at some of the hurdles that you've got to pass through. The first one is entrance exams. Then application, reference and personal statement. You perhaps have got to interview, hopefully, if you get to interview. And then, of course, you've got to get the academic results that are required of you. Your position will probably be conditional on you having certain academic results. The analogy of jumping over hurdles is a good one, because it doesn't matter how well you jump some of the hurdles, you have to jump all of them. There are lots of very good candidates who can jump all of these hurdles, so you must be able to jump all of them as well. It's no good if your interview skills are amazing. If you can't do a decent entrance exam, you won't pass square one. But also, it's worth saying that there's no value in you being able to jump any one of these hurdles extremely highly. The conversations I've had with the medics and clinical people in our team suggest you don't need to be a nuclear physicist to study medicine. You don't have to be insanely brainy, but you have to show enough intelligence. You have to show that you can communicate, that you can do an entrance exam, all of these things well. So they're looking for the whole package, not just some academic machine. They're looking for a real person, and they're looking for somebody who's the whole package. So we'll look at these things in turn. Today, this isn't a very detailed introduction. There's lots of detailed information out there, but this is just an overview. Entrance exams. Don't ignore these and think that I don't need to worry about them. It doesn't matter if you get straight A's. That won't mean very much if you don't get a decent entrance exam score. Our experience is that universities are actually more selective with their entrance exams than they are with the academic grades, because with the entrance exams they can very effectively compare like with like, so they can see someone's true ability. The next thing to say is that you need to apply for the right entrance exam. There's no point in applying for a UK CAT if the universities you want to apply for are BMAT ones, and similarly if you want to apply for graduate entry you need to consider GAMSAT and so on. So you need to think carefully about what the entrance exam is that you need to apply for. Perhaps you need to apply for more than one, and then when you sit that entrance exam you need to be well prepared for it. Preparing for entrance exams is a tricky thing. They try to design them so you can't prepare very much. They're deliberately designed to test the sort of things you can't learn from a book. So in a sense they're trying to assess these innate abilities, but the truth is that you can prepare. You can do a lot of preparation. Think about driving a car or something similar. Okay, maybe some people are naturally a lot better and skillful at driving a car, But everyone can get a lot better through training, and that's the case with most of the tests that they do. Yes, they're designed to separate those who are innately intelligent, but everyone can get a lot better, and you need to practice. There's no point in buying a UK Cat for Dummies book and reading through it. That's no good. You've got to practice. You've got to practice, and you've got to practice regularly. One of the things that you learn if you study neuroscience is that our brains love repetition. They love repetition, doing it regularly. So if you're planning to do a UK CAT exam, I think it would be perfect. You would get a lot more from doing 10 minutes a day every day for a month than you would trying to do one day. Our brains love repetition over a period of time, so use that to your advantage. You need to practice regularly if you want to stand a chance of doing your very best. Our experience is that good entrance exams matter a lot. We have applicants who on paper perhaps don't look like the most stellar student. They get a really good entrance exam rather, and suddenly lots of universities are queuing up to interview them. So this really does make a difference. Going on, applications and doing references and personal statements. This isn't something you can do last minute. It's something you need to plan carefully, something you should hopefully be thinking about many months in advance. And of course you should be, because hopefully your decision to want to study medicine is something that you've been thinking about for many months, if not years. And this really comes across in applications where students aren't really, they've just scratched their head. Oh, well, my friend wants to study medicine, so I guess I'll have a shot at that. No, people who get in have wanted to get in for a long time, and they've thought carefully about their application. You need to find a suitable referee. Okay, I've had students come to me 3 days before the deadline asking for a reference. Are they going to get a good reference? Probably not as good a reference as if they'd built a relationship with me over several months, where I could see the qualities that the student has and write them a really good reference that represents how good that student is. So yeah, if you're going to apply for medicine, you need to think several months in advance about who might be a suitable referee, approach them and talk to them. Because they'll write you a reference depending on how well they know you. You need to plan your personal statement well in advance. It is important that your personal statement is good. Don't assume that you know what a good personal statement looks like. Try not to be arrogant like that. Get advice from others, especially those that have experience. Try to get experience from people who deal with admissions, or from, medical students are a really good source of information here, which is what we do. We get our medical students to look over our students' CVs, our students' personal statements rather. So there's that side of things, but that advice needs to be taken. It needs to be digested by you. There's no point in just blindly following what somebody else is telling you. It needs to still be you, because at the end of the day you're going to have to back that up in an interview. So I've read personal statements, and once 2 or 3 people have gone over it, it stops reading like a person at all. It's just a series of sound bites, which you don't want. I mean, I could sit here and give you an hour's talk about just writing a personal statement. I won't, obviously, but it's something that is you can do a lot of prep on, and it's important that it represents you. At the end of the day, a medical school they're not just interested in admitting somebody who's a bunch of grades. They're interested in admitting a person, and it's important that that person comes through in your statement and that you come across as professional. When it comes to interviewing, you need to prepare. Hopefully you'll get an interview. In terms of preparation, there are two main things you need to do. The first one is you need to know the medical dental school you're applying for. Hopefully you've already done this, but you want to know the type of course you're going on to. What are their main teaching methods? What does their course consist of? All of those sort of background things are nice things you can drop in to show, you need to do it subtly, obviously, but they're nice things to show how learned you are about their course, how eager you are. But it doesn't matter how well you know that course, how much you want that place, it doesn't replace practicing and being good in an interview. Wanting it isn't enough. You have to be good. And that involves being a good communicator face to face. And you need to practice that. So if you have an interview coming up, find someone. You need to find someone, ideally somebody who conducts interviews or somebody who's been through medical school interviews, and trial that. Okay, so you need to then trial those questions and answers with that person. Actively do it. Don't sit there and do it in your head. You need to practice those skills. The next thing is academic results. It doesn't matter, again, how much you want to get into medical school. You have to have the academic prerequisites of the course. If you need to get probably A, B, or better. And it needs to be in the right subject as well. It's very important for most medical schools that you've studied both biology and chemistry. Usually chemistry being the more important. Don't think that if you do a really good interview and you've done a really good entrance exam and all of these things, that not having studied chemistry, for example, you'll kind of get around that. You won't. If you haven't studied chemistry, you need to study chemistry. There's too great a pool of people who have all the academic prerequisites. You need to have studied these things. When I say don't kid yourself, what am I talking about? Well, we have applicants for our courses who say, oh, I did a diploma in fashion. Can I come and study medicine, please? Well, obviously they're not going to study medicine with us. They're going to study a course that gets them ready for medicine. You need to have done the prerequisites. You need to have studied biology and chemistry. These are what medical schools need. So you need them. And if you're predicted C's, are you going to get AAB? Think carefully about it. And if you're not going to achieve the grades required, then you need to think carefully about what you could do as an alternative or a way to mitigate against the fact that you're not quite academically able enough at this stage. So, as inevitably happens with, well, about 85 to 90% of graduate applicants don't get an offer the first time round, and a greater proportion of students get an offer as when they apply as A-level leavers. But here's some things to think about if you don't get in the first time round. The first thing is you should try again, because it is a case of practice makes perfect. Loads of students who we have on our courses applied, and then they applied with us, and suddenly they can get in. So don't think that you can't get in. You probably can. You just need to change your approach, and that often is not a small change. Don't think, oh, I just need to spend another day on my UKCAT. Probably not. There's probably some quite serious changes that need to take place in terms of you as an applicant for that to happen. Med schools will see through somebody trying to put a sticking plaster across one aspect of their application. You need to make sure you're a rounded individual and a rounded applicant. So try to avoid this trap of thinking, oh, I'll just have another go. You probably need to change something. If you try again in the same way, you're probably going to try again and fail again. So you need to take some time to seriously reflect on what you need to do better. If medicine is what you want to study, well then you need to think about all the big things you can do that will change your ability to enter. And you should consider backup options. It's okay to really want to study medicine, but still consider that perhaps, oh, well, if I don't get in, then I need to think about alternatives. Don't put your life on hold just because you want to study medicine. In fact, lots of people get into medicine after having done other things. So, think about what you can do in the future that will improve your potential ability as an applicant. And of course, that then comes on to what Medi-Pathways is, which is, of course, a backup option for several students, and also a way for students to try and give themselves the best chance of getting in. So briefly, about Medi-Pathways and what it is. It's got courses that are specifically designed to prepare students for medical or dental school application. Most biomedical sciences courses are not specifically designed to prepare students for medical or dental school application. They're more focused on biomedical sciences. Of course, our courses fulfill the requirements of a degree in biomedical science, but they're more tailored towards our students who want to go and study medicine. Now, we do a lot of study that is in the context of a medical context, and we prepare our students heavily for entrance to medical school. I don't want you to think that these things that we do are little quick fixes. Our students have to work very hard, and our course is a challenging course, because that's how we get the students to the point where they can make successful applications. It's the students who have to apply. It's the students who have to go and turn up to interview and do the entrance exam. How they get there is up to them. All Medi-Pathways does is offer the routes and the way that the students must walk to achieve it, and it works. Approximately 5 times as many of our graduate applicants get offers compared with other biomedical sciences courses. So we're very successful, but that doesn't mean coming on board Medi-Pathways will get you into medicine. It won't. That's a requirement. This only works if students will put the work in to preparing for their entrance exams. If the students will basically follow our instruction about how to prepare. And also, Medi-Pathways has articulation partners abroad, so there are various options there if your application for the UK isn't successful, or indeed you want to go and study abroad. And finally, before you pick up the phone and call us, do watch the Medi-Pathways introductory video, which I'm sure will be linked next to this one, and do visit the website and investigate further before making an application. We of course would love to have applicants, but we want applicants who are well informed about the course and those who understand what it is that we do and we don't do. So that's all from me. I hope that was helpful. Yes, medical school and dental school are some of the most competitive courses in the country, but of course they're also, very, very rewarding careers and very rewarding courses to be on, do think about how you can prepare your best and make sure that you've done everything you can, and do think about your potential backup options regardless of what they are. And I hope that helps.